Alright, what we want to talk about in this video is the idea that motion is relative. So whenever we talk about um, like measuring something, let's say in motion, we always have to remember that motion is relative to other things. You only notice that you're moving because you're aware of your position against other things. So when you're standing here and you're looking over at like your desk or in a chair or a wall, you notice that, well, I'm not moving because when I keep looking over at the wall, I'm at the same location against the wall that I was before. But in reality, what's going on is you and the wall are both moving, you're both attached to the earth, hurtling through space going around the sun. And so really your motion is relative to what you want to measure it against. And you can think of it this way. So let's say that you're standing here on the side of the road and you're drinking a glass of lemonade and you're watching cars go by on the road. So we have our blue sports car here, and the blue sports car, the blue truck goes by, and let's say the blue truck drives by you, and the blue truck is going 35 kilometers an hour. And then you see another red truck go by, and the red truck is going by at 50 kilometers an hour. So to you drinking lemonade on the side of the road, you see the blue car go by at 35 and the red car go by at 50, relative to you, the stationary observer on the side of the road. However, what do the other people see? Because motion is relative, the blue guy, he sees the red guy go by him at 15 miles an hour. Because the red guy, relative to the blue, is only moving 15 kilometers an hour faster. And so these people see each other all relative to one another, depending on whether you're moving or not. And then let's say the red guy, he sees himself only going by the blue guy 15 kilometers an hour faster, but he sees himself blowing by the guy standing here on the side of the road drinking lemonade. He's just zipped past him. And so what it turns out, though, is because motion is relative, you always want to measure from a frame where you're not moving. Because moving frames or moving at constant velocity are the two choices you always want to make when you measure. If you're in some type of frame that's accelerating, it's more difficult to make your measurements. So you always want to make sure that you're like either stationary or moving at a constant velocity when you're making your measurements, because those are frames that are easier and safer to measure in, because all you have to do is subtract speeds. But if the cars start accelerating, it becomes more difficult to make good measurements. So just remember that motion is always relative because it's always based against, usually you're measuring against something else. And usually whenever you take measurements and you want to measure something, you always pick a reference point and you measure everything in your system against that reference point. And it's usually best to take a reference point that isn't moving if you can, or if it has to move, then you pick it moving at a constant speed. So just remember, motion is relative.